It'll never win the world's sexiest knife competition. It's not tactical, and it's not made from some fancy steel or polymer. But if you use it correctly and take care of it, this knife will take care of you probably for your lifetime. This is the Opinel No. 8, and today I'm going to show you that and some of the mods I've done to it. Now the No. 8 from Opinel is probably their most popular size. They're open pretty simple. You just pull it open, you turn the lock there, and it locks into place. The blade is a slight clip point, full flat grind, very fine bevel. The blade is really thin. At the base of the spine here, it's about 0.066 thick, and it's also very, very sharp. So you can use your spine to do ferro rods, do any kind of shaving. You know, if you want to shave off some fat wood with it, works very well. And we'll demo that a little bit later. But this is definitely a knife that caught my interest a while back. I've had this one for a little while, and I'm going to go over some of the modifications I've done to it. But first I want to tell you some specs on it. The blade is 3.5 inches, 3.25 inches. It's made of X90 carbon steel, and if you'll notice it's black, and we'll get into that in a bit because normally they don't come black. Opinel carbon, this carbon steel seems to be the easiest carbon steel that I've ever had to sharpen, and it does hold an edge really long too. So that's really nice. It kind of reminds me of a knife that I sharpened that was 8CR15. It has that bitey kind of feeling when you run it over a ceramic rod, and it's very quick to sharpen. A couple of runs over that and a couple of hits with the strop, and this thing is razor sharp and can trim hair. So I'm going to go over the overall length is 7.6 inches, and the weight. Now this is the cool part. The weight on this is 1.6 ounces. So if you're looking for a pocket knife that's really non-threatening, non-tactical, you know, and totally practical, this is definitely a way to go. I'm going to show you some of the mods I've done to it. As you can tell, the blade is black. That was done with some cold bluing. You can buy cold bluing in any gun shop. You can order it online on Amazon. Birchwood Casey stuff. This stuff happens to be a gel cold bluing that I use. And there's some fingerprints on the blade, but it actually came out really nice. I just cleaned off the blade with acetone and let it dry completely, and then put on some cold bluing. So it keeps it from rusting. Since this is a carbon steel blade, it will rust very quickly if you don't have some kind of protective layer on there. So that was the first modification I did. Now the second modification, you'll notice there's a little divot here that isn't on Opinel knives. And the reason for that is that I wanted to be able to get in there and reach it and open it a little easier without using that little thumbnail thing there. So this way I can reach in here, open that up, and it's a nice little indentation for that. And I did that pretty much by taking a Dremel tool with a sanding disc on it, you know, the rubber inside, the little sanding discs, and just ran it across here until I had a divot in there, an indentation that was good enough. Some people go nuts with these things. They'll engrave them, they'll wood burn them, they'll do like scrimshaw on the side. For me, my modifications on this were really of a practical nature. I didn't want to get into doing anything over the top because I use this knife. One of the benefits of having a knife like this is it's a small, you know, you're not going to baton wood with it. You're not going to chop down trees with it. You're going to use it around your camp or in your bug out bag for cutting food, preparing food. Use it as a knife when you're eating, you know. And the safety on it is pretty good. There is no way, once you see, now that can still pop open. Once you move this over like that, it's not going anywhere. So you can use the spine to do stuff and not worry about it closing back on your hand. You can also lock it in the closed position, so if you're carrying this in your pocket, it's not going to open back up. And another neat thing is, I got a little case for it here, so it just sits in that case. So I mean, this is a practical knife that you know, if you're thinking about carrying maybe in a less permissive environment where a clipped pocket knife on your pocket might get some attention. Something like this, you know, I mean, it's not a tactical knife. It doesn't look like it's going to be used to stab anybody. It's not a self-defense knife. It's really just a practical knife. So that's why it's had a place in my go bag for a while now. and I wanted to kind of review it quickly. And I did put a different finish on here. The finish on it was starting to wear off. They usually come with it's beech wood, and they usually come with a very light kind of clear finish, kind of a natural finish. And it was starting to wear off, and it was starting to get dirty in some areas. So I just lightly sanded it with some 220 grit sandpaper, put on a little light layer of some brown stain, and sprayed on some polyurethane on it. And for the time being, that's held up very, very well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a quick demo on it doing some fire starting tasks, and you'll see the utility of this knife. It really, really works well. So give me a second, let me set that up, and we'll be back when it is ready. All right, I have a little pizza pan in front of me here. I wanted to show you, I was playing around with it before I started the video, and I wanted to show you these little fine shavings. You can do the back of a magnesium bar with the spine of this knife, and you get the coolest little curly Q shavings from it. It just comes off in a nice little pile like that without hardly any effort. It's a very, very sharp spine and no damage to the knife. And as you can see with that stuff there, and you can tell the knife throws great sparks. And there you go, you got your magnesium lit up. Now I do a lot more if I was going to actually start a fire with it. That was just for the demo. Okay, so if you want to use this spine, here's a piece of fat wood. Okay, I'm just going to pile it in the pile I already kind of started here. The spine works awesome for getting some fat wood off there. You can also shave it if you wanted to. Blade is razor sharp. Normally they come razor sharp out of the box, so you won't have a problem with that. And again, take a little ferro rod there. Probably should do this standing up instead of sitting down. And there you go. Got yourself a little fat wood fire. So for cutting tasks like, say, cutting food, using it in your camp to do some basic carving chores, starting fires, something like the Opinel No. 8 is really amazing. It's a really handy knife. They run about 15 bucks. Sometimes you can find them on sale for cheaper. But all in all, I've been very happy with this knife. And again, the modifications, you can do all sorts of crazy stuff. I was even going to drill a little hole back here for a lanyard, and I figured, why? This is going to be more like a steak knife, maybe a fire starting knife. Maybe I toss this in my fire kit. And I actually have this and a fixed blade knife in my go bag, and in one of my go bags, my travel bag. And I found this to be used far more than the big fixed blade knife. So anyway, they're made in France. They run about 15 bucks. There are tons of different sizes. There are some that are huge. There are some that are little tiny ones. But they're all the same idea. They all are simple little folders. Simple little design. Non-tactical as you can get. Kind of a return to simpler times. And actually I bought this because it reminded me of a knife. I knew nothing of Opinels. It reminded me of a knife that my dad had in his fishing tackle kit years ago. And even though I grew up in New York, we used to go fishing, and we'd get up at like 4:30 in the morning and drive all the way upstate to go fishing. And this was one of the knives in his tackle box that he used, something similar to it, that he used. I don't even know if it was an Opinel, but it was the same kind of idea and design. So it was kind of a sentimental purchase at first, and then I actually realized the utility of it. So anyway, that's the Opinel No. 8. Those are some mods that I've done to it. I am really pleased with it, and if you're thinking about just a regular utility knife, even for everyday carry, something like this, you really can't go wrong with it. Again, it's not tactical, it's not super, super high-end polymer and steel. It's just a good working knife. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.